Now let us discuss the design partitioning. So basically partitioning, we have heard it's a dividing. I can divide the design. So when you start working in a real time, so whatever the whole project will be there, it is not possible to handle by alone or a team, single team. So hence what I do, I divide my project into different blocks and assign each block to each team, and I give all the instructions so how the data has to move from one team to another team and to the final, so that they will start planning, they will start working on that, so that I can save the time. A team may require 1 month to design a block, to design my objective. If I divide into 4 teams and I assign, within a week I can able to get my results. In a similar way, or along with that, I can able to find a less number of errors. I can able to find where the problem I am facing. So that is with respect to the theoretical. Even with respect to the circuit, I divide that. I does the partitioning and I starts executing that. The design partitioning is another important factor for the efficient logic synthesis. The way the designer partition the design can greatly affect the output of the logical synthesis tool. A various parameter techniques can be used. So one is we can find horizontal partitioning, another one with respect to the vertical partitioning. So there are different partitionings are available. So I have the horizontal partitioning for 16-bit ALU. So 16-bit ALU I can able to get by using 4-bit ALU, so that I can able to get the 16-bit ALU. I can have the combinations of them. So here I can have the 4-bit ALU by using the add, shift, subtract, shift left, shift right. So that is with respect to the vertical partitioning. So that 4-bit ALU itself I divide vertically into different blocks. So that is with respect to the horizontal and vertical partitioning. Use the slicers to give the logical synthesis tools a similar block to optimize. This is called horizontal partitioning. Use a bit slice to give the logic synthesis tool a smaller block to optimize. I will have a smaller 4-bit ALU to obtain my 16-bit ALU. So this is called horizontal partitioning. It reduces the complexity of the problem and produces more optimal results for each block. For example, instead of directly designing 16-bit ALU, I design a 4-bit ALU and build 16-bit ALU with 4-bit ALU. Thus the logical synthesis tool has to optimize only the 4-bit ALU. Once I have done an optimization for a 4-bit ALU, so those optimized 4-bit ALU I can able to use. So think of the time which is required to optimize the 4-bit ALU and think of the time which is required to optimize the 16-bit ALU. Obviously, it requires less time, and with respect to the efficiency also, the 4-bit ALU optimization, maybe it is in best effective or good efficiency as compared to the 16-bit ALU. So which is a smaller problem than optimizing the 16-bit ALU. So the partitioning of the ALU 16-bit as shown below. So that is with respect to the horizontal partitioning. The downside of the horizontal partitioning is that a global minima can often a different logical minima. Thus, by use of bit slice, each block is optimized individually, but there are maybe some global redundancy, but the synthesis tools may not be able to eliminate them. So then we will have vertical partitioning. Vertical partitioning implies that the functionality of the block is divided into smaller submodules, whereas here the main application is divided into subblocks, whereas here that each subblocks I will divide into smaller subblocks, smaller partitionings. So this is different from the horizontal partitioning. In horizontal partitioning, all the blocks will do the same function. Whereas in vertical partitioning, each block does the different function. See here, we will have addition, subtraction, shift left, shift right. Whereas here, I can find all blocks will have a 4-bit ALU. We will do the same ALU operation and same number of bits. So in that way, so both are will be different. So all the blocks will do the same function, whereas in case of vertical, each block will do the different function. Assume that a 4-bit ALU described earlier will have the 4 function ALU. So with the functions, what are those functions of ALU? It does addition, subtraction, shift right, shift left. Each block is distinct in a function. So this is vertical partitioning. Vertical partitioning of the 4-bit ALU I can able to see by this figure 14.8. So each whatever we are visible, it does a different function, different activities. So that is with respect to the horizontal partitioning and vertical partitioning. Horizontal partitioning means, so 16-bit ALU I divide into a 4-bit ALU and they are cascaded with each other, they does the same function. Whereas in case of vertical, each 4-bit ALU will do the 4 operations. I can able to see them. So which means that each block will do the different operations to do my intended 4-bit ALU operation. So then we will have parallelizing the design structure. As we know that in any of the programming, I go for the parallel and pipelining architectures. Basically, the parallel and pipelining architecture will not allow you to have the resource. Whatever the resource is available with you, so I can utilize that in a better way to get an results, to get an output as soon as possible. So that is the parallelizing the data structures. I can able to parallelize them. I can go for an operations. I don't want to waste my signals. I don't want to waste my variables. Such a way that I can able to improve my results, such a way that I can improve my synthesis, I can able to improve my optimization, I can able to improve the things. So that is with respect to the parallelizing the design structure. So in these techniques, so we use more resource to produce the faster design. We will have the resources, I can use them, I can produce the results in a faster way. We convert the sequential operations into parallel operations by using a more logic. A good example is the carry lookup adder of full adder. So the constraint of the carry lookup adder, so with respect to the ripple carry adder, so that is a serial ripple carry adder, the carry lookup will do the operations in a parallel. I can able to get the results. I can able to see here parallel operations of an adder. So here I have the 4 full adders, so by which I can able to get the results. So I have the carry in, so that C out becomes an input for the second adder. This carry out will becomes an input. This carry output is become an input for the final adder, and I can able to get the C out. Similarly, I can able to get the outputs. So delay will be 9 gate delay. Fewer logic gates. I required less number of logic gates. So that is with respect to the ripple carry adder. If I go for that by using a carry lookup, see here I required 4 gate delays. So here 9 gate delay, here 4 gate delay. So which means that 5 gate delays are eliminated. If the delays are eliminated means I can able to get the things quickly. So it indicates that I am getting an output in a faster way as compared to the other one. So which requires a more logic gates. I can use them, I can use the resources, whatever the resources are available with me, but I need to get a result as soon as possible. So that is with respect to the using a things or using an architecture of parallel. So then I will have the design constraint specifications. So whatever I do, whatever I need to design, I should have the specifications. I should have the constraint specifications. So when I have all the specifications, of the resources which are available with me, I can able to design the things. Right. Consider you need to prepare some notes. You need to prepare some assignments. If the notes or if the previous year question paper or if the paper, if the pen is not available with you, then how can you do the things? I should have all the information and I can able to design my constraints. So the design constraints are as important as an efficient HDL description in producing an optimal design. Accurate specifications of the timing, area, power, environmental parameters such as input drive strengths, output loads, input arrival timing, etc. are very crucial to produce the gate level netlist that is optimal. A deviation from the correct constraints or omission of the constraints will lead for a non-optimal design. A deviation, if some deviation will take place while in the basic design itself, it leads for a lot of error. It leads for a non-optimized design. Hence, careful attention must be given to specify the design constraints. So that is with respect to the design constraint. So we will have some sequential circuits synthesis with respect to the optimization. So RTL to gate level, we synthesize the combination of circuits. So previously, so then we go for the sequential synthesization. So then we will have the design specifications. So we required a finite state machine. Basically state machine will find an errors, we will find an iterations, we will find the way of approaching for a things. So that is with respect to the design specifications in a finite state machine. Then we will have the circuit requirements. So what are the requirements to do my operations? So then I will have FSM. Here I can see in an FSM for a newspaper vending machine. So what are the status? I will have a different status S0, S5, S10, S15. So how the newspaper vending machine which is working, I can able to see by this finite state machine. First let us go for the design specification. A simple design digital circuit is to be designed for a coin acceptor of an electronic newspaper vending machine. Assume that newspaper will cost 15 cents. So well, it is assumed that all special student edition. The coin acceptor takes only a nickel and dimes. Exact change must be provided. The acceptor does not return extra money. Valid combinations include the order of the coins are only the nickel and 1 dime. 3 nickels, 1 dime and 1 nickel. 2 dimes are valid, but an acceptor does not return the money. So consider there is a machine, there is a vending machine, there is a chocolate vending machine as we have experienced. So there are coffee vending machine. For them, I need to pay the amount as much which is required for them. So if I reduce the amount, they won't provide the chocolates or the coffee. So hence I need to provide a proper coins. Think of weighing machine. Weighing machine will accept the coin as we experience. Like consider a 2 rupee coin. In a 2 rupee coin, we have a different versions of the 2 rupees. So I need to provide the proper version of the coin for which the vending machine which is working, so that I can able to get the results. So that is a design constraint for which kinds my machine is able to work. And if I put 5 rupee coin for a weighing machine, does it provide the change? No way. Does it do the task? No way. Maybe it does, but it's not in a regular way, random way. Hence I need to provide the proper kinds, proper design of information I need to provide for my intended design. So that is with respect to the design specifications. Like a newspaper vending machine, I need to get a newspaper. Consider you are in some railway station, some metro cities, metro stations. You want to get some newspaper. So then you can put a coin for that particular newspaper and you can able to get the things. Then the circuit requirement to do that machine, design that machine, I have a lot of constraints. I need to design that. What is the clock cycles, what is the frequency, what is time, what is a local time, global time, and all I need to consider. We must some requirement of the digital circuits. When each coin is inserted, consider I will put as some coin. A 2-bit signal, so that is coin 1:0 is sent to the digital counter. The signal is asserted at the next negative edge of the global clock signal must stay up to exactly 1 clock cycle. The output of the first digital circuit is a single bit. Each time the total amount inserted is 15 cents or more. The output signal newspaper goes high for exactly 1 clock cycles and the vending machine door is released. A reset signal can be used to reset the final state machine. We assume it which is a synchronous reset. So I can have a final state machine. Input will have a 2-bit, so that is coin, no coin, nickel, dime. Output 1-bit, newspaper, release the door. When the newspaper is arises, then reset the things. So that is way I can able to design my any vending machine, newspaper vending, chocolate vending machine, or a coffee day vending machines, whatever we see. Even the weighing machine. So for that we have a very large description. I need to consider the states. So which state? State S0, considering the kind, newspaper and other parameters. S5, different status are available. I can design my status and I can start designing the things. So that is with respect to the design constraint. Timing critical, so that is one of the important things. So I need to consider, we use it in this design. Typically design constraints are more elaborate. So then we will have a logical synthesis, we optimize the RTL description. So then we will have optimized gate level netlist. So that is with respect to the, so this is a gate level schematic and I can do the verification as we have discussed. We have the stimulus for that. Stimulus will verify does it working for all the combinations. So the summary of this chapter is a logical synthesis is a process of converting high level description to the optimized gate level representation. For that we have so many CAD tools are available. I can use them. Basically my intention is to have an optimum solution. So that is with respect to the summary of this chapter. Then we can discuss the advanced verification techniques.